guys, so we're going to get started. Just so you know that the session is being recorded. You're very welcome to put your video on if you'd like. We'd love to see some faces, but no pressure if you don't want to. Just a quick introduction. My name is Ray Wadden. I am one of the student activities managers with a focus on societies. And today we have with us Dom King, who's the other manager of within the student activities department. And we also have Jack, who's here, and he's going to be in the chat today. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat. Thank you, Dominica, for being brave and having your video on. It's nice to actually see a person that we're talking to. That's awesome. So thank you for that. Oh, and Daniela, thank you. We have more than one. This is awesome. So feel free to put your videos on. It's really nice to actually see students, especially after all this time. We haven't seen you all. So yeah, so basically what we're going to go through today is a Freshers Fair kind of overview so that you guys know what you're doing. As I said, the chat function is open. So if at any point you have any questions, then you can just pop them in there, or there'll be an opportunity at the end to ask us. Please do take notes, but we will make sure that this presentation is available, so you will be able to just kind of use it as you wish. And yes, please make sure that this information gets relayed back to the other members of your committee, just because otherwise they have no idea what's going on. It's just you. So it's always really important that you share this back. Yeah, so I'm going to get started, and then me and Dom are going to probably pretty much just take turns and talk to you through the different things that are happening today. So the key details of Freshers Fair, if you didn't know, is that it's on Saturday, the 9th of October. The fair starts at 10 a.m. From 10 to 11, there will be a quiet hour. So this is to allow anybody who basically may find the fair as a whole a bit more challenging when it's in full flow. So parents, people who may have access needs or have high levels of anxiety right now with the pandemic still, or anything like that, this is aimed at that time. So during this time, we are going to ask you to be kind of respectful to the fact that those coming through the fair between 10 and 11 it's just quiet, just kind of give them a chance to kind of come around and look at things, and try not to be too overbearing during that time. But then from 11 o'clock, the main kind of fair kicks off, and will run until 5 p.m. We will have staff on site from 8 a.m, but we will be setting things up. So please don't arrive before your arrival time, because we have kind of like a scheduled setup so that we can get everything ready. Your arrival times will either be 9 o'clock, at 9:15 or 9:30. You will know in a minute which color zone that you're in. And as I said, this stuff will be sent around, so you will be able to pick this up, and you should also have this in email. And yeah, the last bit is when Freshers Fair has finished, please make sure that you take all your rubbish with you. There will be wheelie bins throughout the fair for you to put rubbish in. Just fold down your table and leave it where it is. We will come around and we'll collect tables up at the end, just to make sure that it's kind of dealt with safely, and we don't have people coming through the fair with tables at the moment. So that is the basics. I'm going to hand over to Dom.
Yeah, hi guys. So how will the fair work? So as Ray's already mentioned, the stallholders will be asked to arrive at a set time based on where your stall is located. All attendees will be asked to pre-book a ticket, but don't worry, as stallholders yourselves, you won't. But when you arrive, we will issue a wristband to the stallholders, just so we can separate stallholders from non-stallholders. As Ray's already mentioned, the first hour is a quiet hour, and we obviously want to make sure that the fair is as inclusive as possible. So there's also an opportunity for you to sort of raise any sort of on the day issues that you might find, because it's quite a short period for setting up. Generally speaking, every 30 minutes or so, we'll let a new group of attendees into the fair. So you may find that there are waves of people coming through, and the reason for that is simply to be able to sort of control as best as we can the numbers that are on each of the levels in the multi-deck. If we have too many people in one space, you'll just have a queue of people at your stall, hopefully. Or hopefully you don't have a massive queue, but we want to be able to social distance those. The fair, so for those of you that weren't involved in the fair last year, because it's taking place in the multi-deck, we do have a one-way operation in place at the fair, and that will be clearly marked throughout the fair. So you may find that some individuals, if you're at the first part of the entrance on that level, you may find that some individuals stop there and then they will eventually get to you. So yeah, in terms of something else that we're doing this year, we really want to try and support all club and society and volunteering project stalls. So we are looking to provide everybody with a tablecloth. So that's one massive positive compared to previous years. We have invested a fair bit of money into the tablecloths to help you out. Obviously, what you put on top of the tablecloth is up to you. I would strongly suggest you don't just have a table with a tablecloth on and you think creatively about what you could do to promote your activities. We will also provide you with a QR code. That QR code will go straight through to your club or society website or webpage, where all the information for signing up and becoming a registered member, they'll be able to do that on their phones. And we have checked the signal. There's a strong signal in the multi-deck. The university's upgraded the facility, so there shouldn't be too many issues around people not being able to get on the EduRoam Wi-Fi. Yeah, another thing to note, so clubs, in terms of sports clubs, you will have, every sports club has a free social membership. That is essentially a non-playing membership. So if somebody's got an interest in one of the sports clubs but doesn't want to actually play the sport, they can still be a member and be part of a mailing list and potentially find out about socials and things like that. For societies, it's slightly different. There'll be a mailing list or a free element that you can join, but that will have an expiry, and that expiry for the societies is the 31st of October, whereas for sports clubs there's one that goes throughout the whole year. Hopefully that makes sense. Your challenge, I guess, is that like to set targets, but your challenge as clubs and societies is really about trying to get as many people to join your communities, so either through the free memberships or mailing lists, or your paid memberships. But it's really important that it's really important that as execs that you are communicating regularly with your members through the message center on our website. Don't just rely on contacting them through your social media accounts, because the moment that someone joins your club or your society, be it a paid membership or a free membership, you will be able to access them if you've got the admin rights. And especially over the next few weeks, I would recommend sending out every 2 or 3 days, if not daily, messaging to your members, because there's always somebody new who will have joined in the last 24 hours. Obviously, as time goes on, as you know what events you're doing, then obviously you use it as and when you need to. Another change from previous years. So this year we're actually going to be we're going to be creating a pop-up reception right by the Freshers' Fair, so people don't have to walk all the way down the hill to the main squares. The pop-up reception will be just behind the multi-deck car park, next to where the hockey pitch is located. Sort of that's that side of the multi-deck. That will be an area that people can purchase their paid memberships. Whilst we will have a card machine, I believe, but people should be able to pay by cash. We will have staff there and cash point, or we'll have a cash point. We'll have facilities to be able to take cash. The other thing that you do need to bear in mind is, I think we're all probably very familiar with GDPR, but you have to be careful with what data that you write down. So please don't have a paper sign-up sheet with people's email addresses and contact numbers, because as much as you might try to hide what information you've got from the next person, it is quite clear that someone could look onto your desk and see somebody's personal data. So that's another reason for the QR codes. Just encourage people to scan a QR code and sign up, and then you're all good to go from there. Doreen.
Brilliant, thanks, Tom. So something a little bit different this year is that Freshers Fair, we have got colour zones. There are reasons for the coloured zones, but I'm not going to tell you all because I think it'd be nice for you guys to enjoy some surprises on the day yourselves. But there will be a general kind of vibe to each zone. We have a yellow zone, which has got a summertime kind of vibe. Pink is more like sweet treats. The green is kind of like a jungly kind of zone, naturey zone. Red, think London, England kind of vibes. Blue, think kind of seaside, and then orange is I'll be there for you is the kind of theme for those areas. So these are kind of themes that you are under no expectation that you have to theme your stalls to all the themes in the zone that you're in, but we think that it will definitely add to the experience that you guys have got to showcase yourself and look really slick, and it will be kind of it will add to the general kind of aesthetic, I guess, of the whole fair. So if you want to, then we would really appreciate it. This is the kind of list. If you can't see yourself, you should have received an email to tell you which zone that you're in. So don't panic if you can't see this quickly enough, but this is just kind of an oversight. You would have received an email. Just double check the email. If you haven't received it, then please drop a message in the chat or email us, just so we can make sure that we have picked that up. But yeah, you don't have to, but we would really love for you to think about if there's any way that you can match part of your activities to your zone. I'm just going to keep talking just because I feel bad when Dom had to do a massive chunk at the beginning, and then I'll hand over to Dom. So something new this year as well is the Freshers Fair stamp card, and this all falls into the zones that we're doing. So all the attendees will be given a Freshers Fair stamp card. On that, there will be 6 boxes, little houses, which reflect the color of each of the zones. And then you guys will basically have stamps on your stalls. So the kind of initiative behind this is last year, sometimes people say people were just kind of storming through, they just wanted to get to a certain point and they were gone. And so this is part of, I guess, we're trying to get people to kind of really explore the different zones and check out what's there. So if they come and they have a conversation with any club or society in that zone, they'll get a stamp. You'll be able to stamp them on their card. And if they complete all of the different zones, they'll be able to exchange that at the end for an envelope where they'll get some SU vouchers, but there's also some high ticket items in there as golden ticket prizes, which will hopefully really encourage people to explore the whole fair and come talk to you guys. So just to be aware, you will be given a stamp, and that will be part of what you'll be doing on the fair. I'll hand back to Dom now.
Okay, so what do you need to do beforehand? So if you haven't already, please read and sign the stallholder agreement form, which should have been sent out to you. If you haven't got the stallholder agreement form, please send an email to SU Socks. And if you've completed the stallholder form, please send the form to SU Socks. So either way, send it to SU Socks as soon as possible. If we don't receive this, we'll be able to have your stall. Please don't leave it to the last minute, because we want to be set up and all good to go before the first lot of students arrive. It's a very simple agreement form. There's not too many changes from previous years, and we've tried to be as flexible as we can within the scope of what the university permits. In terms of other things, so you'll need to prepare in terms of your preparation for term 1. Try and identify before the fair what your plan is as a club or society. What activities are you potentially going to be trying to put on, even if you don't know 100%. These are sort of talking points that you're going to need to have. If someone comes to your store and says, okay, you're the X society, what are you doing? It's not going to be sufficient to say, oh, we don't know yet. That's probably not going to encourage me to join your society if I've got a society that doesn't know what they're doing. So have a chat amongst your committees. You know, be as creative as possible. Maybe even ask the stallholders, so the members that approach, you know, they can be engaged in those events as well. Try and obviously, yes, there's a point on there about creating events. If you know exactly what events you want to do and you've got some planned, get them advertised on your website. Jack's done a couple of training sessions where showing you how to do that through our exec resources link. There's a load of information on how to do all that, so I won't go over that. Make sure you're updating your social media pages that you're going to be at the fair. You know, everyone will be, you know, don't just assume everyone's just going to turn up. If you advertise beforehand, then people are more likely to turn up and know where you are, what zone you're in. Yeah, try not to leave everything to the last moment, because that's obviously when things get forgotten. So try and share out the workload of doing posters or whatever it is that you plan to do to try and sell your activity, and you're still amongst your committee. And if you are ordering anything, make sure that you allow plenty of time for any delays. We have unfortunately had situations in years gone by where a society or club's ordered material for Freshers' Fair and it's arrived the Monday after the Freshers' Fair happened. So if you're looking to order things, try and do that very soon if you can. If you've got photos or images or anything from previous years, then obviously use that as part of your marketing. But yeah, and Ray's already moving me on, so I'll do you want me to do this bit, Ray? Or
it's just because it leans off quite nicely. I thought I'll just put the next slide up for you to continue.
No worries. Okay, so yeah, what can you put on your fair? Okay, so unlike last year where you couldn't give anything out, this year you are allowed to hand things out or distribute flyers, banners, business cards, sweets, those kinds of things, but in a COVID safe manner. What does that actually mean? That means you can't just have like a bowl with individual sweets all in it and someone just sticks their hand in the bowl. You need to sort of use the space on your table and make sure that, if maybe you've got things in envelopes that are separated out. You might give someone an envelope or a gift bag. That's okay to do, but just make sure you're constantly using the sanitizer that we'll be providing and on each floor, and just wash your hands. And we're probably all used to it by now, so just follow the sensible approach of not mixing things. If you are going to be having any cakes or treats or anything on your table, it is really, really important that you have got whoever's preparing that and who's going to be at the stall have done the level 2 food hygiene course. This is a really, really worthwhile course to do. It will cover you for, I think it's for 2 years, and it is something that you'll be able to claim back as clubs and societies. The link is on the PowerPoint. I don't know if we can put that in the chat. And there's some really important things that you need to know about using ingredients, about allergies. We obviously don't want to harm anyone in any way. If you're giving a cake, you do need to make sure you list what the allergies and ingredients are, just in case someone has anything that could send them into have a bit of an issue. And also, crucially, make sure if you've done your certificate that you've got a copy of it in case you get asked to provide that. The only other thing about drink is no alcohol is permitted at the fair. I think we'll come on to that a bit later. And that includes no alcoholic jelly shots, which has happened in previous years. It's still alcohol, even if it is in a jelly, because we do have young visitors to the fair. We do have parents who bring their children, and the last thing we want is a 7-year-old or 8-year-old getting high on alcoholic jelly sweets or whatever it is that we don't want contractions that have been made. So and in bold, because it's just don't take any risks, don't put any high risk foods in there. So no hot food, for instance, because there's no way, you'll have no way of keeping it hot. So generally speaking, all the sweet things, cakes and sweets, you're probably best just going to, say, the local supermarket and buying pre-packaged items which are individually wrapped, and then spreading them on your table. And yeah, seems to work well in previous years, and touch wood, we've not had any issues. So back to Ray.
Awesome. So that leads us on to banner making workshops. So this is something new that's been introduced this year. It's part of what we want to do to kind of support you guys to showcase yourselves and to also help make the multi-deck car park feel less like a car park and more like a Freshers' Fair. So we are running banner making workshops from the 29th up until the 5th. The dates are on there. You will be, it's completely free, doesn't come as any cost to your club or society. It's something we're covering, where you will get a banner. It will be like a blank kind of canvas banner, and you'll have painting supplies to you. We're also going to lend everybody out some board or clips on the day as well, which you'll be able to clip up onto the frame behind you, which Dom and some other team members have gone down and done a recce of and made sure that it works great. So that will be good. So you'll be able to excuse me, paint a sign for your club or society, put that up or behind you, and then really help bring attention to who you are and get yourself out there. The slots only take 45 minutes or they're 45 minutes long, so make sure you turn up right at the beginning so that you actually have time to paint, and then we'll, as they dry, leave them with us to let them dry, and then we'll make sure they're available for you to collect. You'll be able to keep them after, so any events that you're doing going forward, you'll be able to do that. What happens if you've got a problem on the day? Staff members will be wearing high-vis jackets, so it will be very easy to identify who a staff member is. There will be staff members on each floor, and we'll have radios between us. So just contact anybody in a high-vis jacket, essentially, and then they'll make sure that the message gets through to the right person to come and help you. Where possible, please try to have 2 execs on your store at all times. So if one of you needs to kind of leave the store for a minute, you've always got somebody there. Also means you're covered for toilet breaks and stuff like that as well. And just to kind of manage some expectations, we won't be able to help with any extra printing on the time at the fair. So please make sure you've got enough of everything you need ahead of the fair, or that you're able to kind of have members run out, because we won't be able to print the stuff for you, just because we're always kind of running around making sure that everything's running smoothly for everybody. So just a heads up with that. General other things to know: if you have any urgent queries about the fair, just make sure that you've emailed us by midday on the Thursday, the 7th. This is because we pretty much are not on our desk at all on the Friday, because we will be taking things up to site, setting up. It's a very kind of busy hands-on day for us, and we won't physically be at our desk reading emails. So have a think now, don't leave it to the last minute if you need any help with stuff. I know we've already kind of said this, but please make sure that your club and society pages on EssexStudent.com are updated before the fair. Yeah, so if for any reason you can't attend on the day, we're going to have kind of a notice board area where we'll be able to showcase your club or society to explain how people can kind of come up and find more and be able to direct them through there to join up. If you can, try to upload as many of your events that you've planned. Hopefully you're already going to know this beforehand, because you've planned for them to showcase them on your stall. So please do upload them onto What's On. We will be directing all of our energies towards getting people onto those pages. So that is the best place to put stuff to kind of engage with as many people as you can. As a side point on this, if you're doing any online activities, please feel free to kind of tick the boxes for the Southend and Loughton campuses, just because a lot of our students are engaging online with clubs and societies on those campuses. So there will be little tick boxes you can tick. So even if you're based in Colchester, if it's available for any student, click that so that it comes up onto their pages. And yeah, think about how you can engage with people to try and talk to you, try to have an interactive activity. I guess a good viewpoint is thinking about, if you were going to walk into the fair that day, what would actually make you want to go up to a table? What would actually draw your attention? I would say maybe about 50% of the stores typically have sweets on them. So sweets aren't always like a driver to come over just because they're everywhere. So think about what makes you unique. We have, as clubs and societies, you are unique to each other. And I think, capitalize on that. Think about what would draw your attention in. And then that's a really good engaging activity. Try to not look like deadpan and really like fed up, because that's never a smiley face. Like, if a smiley face, you're actually going to come over and talk to someone. It sounds so silly to kind of say that, but I have walked through the fair before and people just have completely stoned faces, and then they might feel intimidated, they might be a bit nervous coming to Freshers' Fair. It's one of their first events that they've come to potentially, so just kind of be aware of the students coming around the fair might just need a bit of an open hand sort of thing. I'm going to hand over to Dom.
Yeah, so I was just putting it in the chat. I think if you've got like your own, some clubs and societies have their own sort of funds that they've built up over the years. This is a prime opportunity to be able to maybe spend a bit more on something that's really going to sell your club or society activity. And you might want to do, you might want to run a competition, for instance, those that visit the stall. If you might want to say, like, if individuals sign up to your club or society activity by the close of play of the the fair or the weekend, they'll be entered into a competition, and you legitimately could turn around and say, okay, we're going to offer a free membership, and the way that would operate is those that have signed up, maybe they go into a competition and then someone gets their membership costs given back to them, and through like an expense form. Or you might have equipment, like some of the sports clubs might have, like the rugby club might have some rugby balls they want to give out as part of a competition, or it could be anything. So be creative, and yeah, it's always good to see the creative ideas that are out there. So moving on to COVID regulations. So it's important, because they're always changing. It's important that you yourself and your members that are attending the fair understand the latest university guidance, and the link on there has the most up-to-date guidance, I believe. Again, put that in the chat. The guidance, and it was changed recently, is if you or a member of your household are currently undergoing an isolation period due to COVID, then you must not attend the fair. That is very different to what the government guidance is. The government guidance is currently only if you've got COVID or you are expressing symptoms and have a positive test. So be very, very clear on there. Currently, the university guidance is anyone in your household, if they are isolating because they have COVID, then you should not be attending this event. If on the morning of the event, you or anyone that you live with have any of the following symptoms: high temperature, new or continuous cough, a loss or change to smell or of sense of smell or taste, then you again shouldn't attend the fair, and inform us through su@essex.ac.uk, just so we can mark that down. You will also be required to check in when you come through when you arrive on site, and we will do a quick health check declaration. This is all important because this is been signed off by the university under our risk assessment, and for us to be able to do this event and keep everyone safe. It is not compulsory, but we are strongly encouraging attendees to wear face coverings, and we will have disposable masks available. As I say, it's not compulsory, but the general guidance is if you are potentially going to be in spaces where it's hard to avoid crowding, then you are recommended to wear a face covering. It is obviously an outdoor event, and there will be plenty of ventilation, but we want everyone to feel safe. In terms of social distancing, we would like everybody to try and to adhere to the 1 meter plus social distancing throughout the fair. And when you are having any conversations, just try to be mindful of the time that you're spending talking to individuals. And I mean, if you're spending more than 15 minutes talking to one person, you're probably only going to be speaking to about 20 people in the whole fair, because there isn't actually that much time at the fair and the time goes by really quickly. So by all means, have those conversations with those enthusiastic students who are going to join your clubs or societies. But perhaps if you feel the conversation's going on quite long, suggest having a further meeting after the fair with them, or inviting or talking to them at the first meeting of your club or society. And also just be aware, if you're talking to someone and there's a large group of people sort of lingering, then it probably means they want to talk to you. And you know, you can always talk to a group of people as long as they're socially distanced, and that might be one way to stop you from losing your voices and repeating yourself over and over and over and over and over again. So it goes without saying, try and be positive, try and be happy. I know it can be quite tiring day being in a car parking space for, well, whatever it is, 6 hours or so. Yeah, try not to think of it as a car parking space for 6 hours. It is a nice dry place, and yeah, it's an ideal opportunity for you to recruit lots of members to your wonderful activities that you've got. So some general rules and expectations. I've already touched on it earlier. There's plenty of time outside of Freshers' Fair for people to have a drink of alcohol if that's what they want to do, but we just insist that they don't have alcohol at the fair. No smoking within the fair. You might think, oh, Dom, it's outside, but actually, you're in a multi-deck car park and there are lots of flammable materials. Tablecloths are one example. We do not want a fire in the multi-deck, so please no smoking at the fair. If you do need to go and have a cigarette break, then please leave your stall, exit the fair area and find somewhere away from the fair to be able to have your cigarette or whatever it is. So general rules, please be courteous and respectful to others. If you do have any issues, obviously, please raise it with any of the staff members that are on duty, who will be identifiable with their high-vis jacket. Please try and stay for the whole duration of the fair. Bear in mind that an individual who might have been looking to come and talk to you specifically about your stall might be looking to arrive between 4 and 5 in the afternoon. So if you pack up at 3 o'clock, you might have just missed out on an amazing member of your club or society. So please stay. And yeah, unfortunately, just because of capacity, we just don't have the capacity to be able to provide electricity for the stalls. Because if we did it for one club or one society, we would have to sort of provide that service for all, and we just don't have the capacity. In terms of music, you will be allowed, no, I should clarify. There will be some music at the fair, but you will not be permitted to play individual music at your stall, because otherwise, well, we've all been in a multi-deck car park before, I'm sure. It will be echoey and it will be a mix of all kinds of styles and just give everyone a massive headache, and that's not what we want to do to anyone. So yeah, and also you'll have to raise your voice, which is another risk of around the COVID regulations. So please respect that rule. In terms of performances and showcase space, there will be some opportunities. We're still putting the final plans together, and potentially we'll be having a space outside of the multi-deck where those performances can take place, subject to weather, obviously. And we will be confirming that very soon with you. And if you are interested in that, obviously, please respond as soon as possible, because spaces and places will be limited.
I'm just going to respond to a couple of bits that Jack's just let me know has come through the chat. So with regards to chairs, we've had it confirmed today that we're going to have access to the cupboard, which will have approximately about 200 chairs in it. So we will be prioritizing and keeping some aside for those that may have legitimate reasons where they require a chair for the fair. There will be on average about a chair per stall, so we'll make sure that some chairs are available at each level. If you have got camp chairs, then we would recommend you bring in a camp chair with you, just because there will not be enough chairs to go around. So just to guarantee that you can have a chair, then please feel free to bring a camp chair or stall with you, but we will endeavour to try and get as many kind of chairs across the fair as possible, so just so you're aware of that. With regards to tablecloths, when you're done at the fair, because we're providing tablecloths, there will be kind of places for you to drop them into, just so that we can then take them away and wash them for further events and to lend you guys out at different points. And someone has asked me to go over the themes again, which I will make sure that gets circulated before we finish the session, so don't worry. Oh, it is the end of the session, ignore me. So I'm going to just go back to the themes really quickly. So these are the different colors of the fair. So the yellow zone is kind of like a summertime kind of vibe theme. The pink zone is like a sweet treats would be the kind of theme for that zone. The green zone is a like jungle / nature kind of zone. Red would be like a London or England type vibe. Blue, think about like going to the seaside, and then orange is I'll be there for you type theme in that. So it's based around like Friends essentially. If you're not sure, these are the lists. So yeah, yellow, springtime, that summer kind of vibes, that kind of thing. Pink, sweet treats. Green is a kind of nature / jungle theme. Red is like a London, England kind of theme. Blue is like a seaside type theme. And then orange is like I'll be there for you, but like making friends type theme. So hopefully that clarified that. The last thing I was just going to say as well is like the fair. I think, you know, when 5 o'clock comes at the fair, everyone kind of packs up and like done and that's it. But and I'm sure you'll be exhausted as we will be at that point. But I would really strongly encourage you to, before the fair, before even on the Saturday, pre-write a message saying it was great to meet you guys today, something to send out, get that ready, because we get messages every year where we have had people go, well, I've joined and I've not heard anything, and that's it, they've written you off from the fact that they've not heard anything after a day or something. They're like, right, well, they obviously don't care about me. And I'm sure that's not the case, but that's kind of how, that's the messaging we get come through to us in the office. So because you will be tired by the end of it, because it's really hard to be on for that whole time. And I would recommend you kind of having shifts amongst you as an executive teams where possible. I really truly recommend that you have a message prepared beforehand. You can go on to essexstudent.com. You should have your admin rights already ahead of the fair, because you should have them by now anyway. If you don't have your admin rights to your club or society, please make sure you've joined it, because we manually put the kind of access onto you once you appear on the list under that club or society. So please do that. Don't leave it until Friday and then say like, oh, can you do this, otherwise I can't email them, because we won't be at our desks, we'll be setting it up. So I really implore you guys, please don't leave it to the last minute. Please join your clubs or societies if you haven't already, so that we can kind of sort out those rights for you and you are able to email your members, because it would be a shame for you guys put in all that effort and then yeah, that's it, you can't contact them. So that is the end of the training today. Thank you for... Oh, sorry.
There was a question. There was a question about the staircases. So absolutely, stall holders will be permitted to access the staircases. It will be like last year, where the nearest staircase sports centre car park will be the up staircase, and the bar staircase, nearest one to the hockey pitch, will be the down staircase. The down staircase obviously will also have all the visitors of the fair exiting from the second floor, I believe it is the top of our fair. So just be mindful of, you know, there might be some elements of crowding, so just be patient. And again, if you have any issues on the day, so just contact one of the staff members that are working. Ray mentioned about friends or friendships. Bear in mind that you're all in the same position, so you know, by all means talk to your peers who are trying to exhibit other stalls on the fair. Clubs and societies, you can talk to each other. Just because you're clubs and just because you're societies, it doesn't mean you can't talk to each other. You know, we actively want to see, you know, building of wider community groups. And yeah, just Freshers' Fair is always a really enjoyable event for me, and because it's when you see friendships made, and yeah, I fully expect there to be thousands of people. Last year, when it was in a COVID year, we had just short of 2,000 people visit across the 2 days. This year, there's significantly more people living on campus and have returned to university. So it's not inconceivable to have 4,000 or 5,000 people visit the fair on that one day. So prepare yourselves for a busy fair. Try not to be the only person in your club or society running your stall, because you will find that quite difficult, especially if 6 people want to talk to you at the same time. If you need to space out, you know, if someone's arrived covering the stall from, I don't know, 10 till 12, and then someone else 12 till 2, and then someone 2 till 5, that's fine. Just make sure that you're coming through the registration point and you're making it clear that you are a stall holder. But yeah, enjoy. You know, no one wants to join or go and talk to someone who doesn't look happy. Yeah, even if it's a poker face, just I'm sure you'll all be fine, and I'm really looking forward to it.
If you have any questions at all, feel free to put them in the chat or just shout out. But if you don't, thank you guys so much for coming. As I said, the emails have already gone out with some of this information in it, but this presentation will be available online. Someone just asked for the arrival times, which is why I've gone back to this slide so you can see the arrival times. But all of this is on your stallholder agreement. The stallholder agreement has a large amount of information of the actual kind of rules and regs of the fair, of what we need to do to make sure it happens. So yeah, refer on to that.
And then well, one other thing which is really important from my point of view, should have mentioned it. So like with all these training workshops that you've been attending, please make sure you're logging these hours. They do count towards your standards, towards Big Essex and all of that. But crucially also, Freshers' Fair is a massive volunteering opportunity. So log all those hours. Don't sort of put it off, I'll do it another day. So you can log those hours through the Grad Intelligence link, which is on our essex.su/volunteering page. So if you have any problems, you can contact the team at Essex, and we will do our best to ensure that those hours are being logged. You'd be surprised how many hours you probably have actually already volunteered in your club and society exec positions. Basically anything you're doing which is to do with your job roles or your voluntary roles, you're not being paid for, is volunteering. So all training sessions, if you're coaching, leading sessions that you're delivering for your societies, that's all volunteering, and that can all be logged as well.
You can all log an hour for today. You've got an hour immediately.